Salutation, Jones Nation. Welcome back to the show. And today we are reviewing White Boy Rick.
Nice.
Now, this movie kind of came out of left field. It looked interesting at first, and then we heard about who the kid was playing White Boy Rick. His name is Richie Merritt, and apparently he's a boy actually pulled off the streets, and he was given lessons, and they tried out a bunch of guys, and he won, and he was from Baltimore, which is near us.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. They wanted to have the actor have a real grit to him, a real feel, as opposed to some kid that's been raised being homeschooled and living in Hollywood his whole life. So they wanted someone with a little more street cred, or at least in his way, in his walk. And this is his big introduction.
Yeah, and this movie is basically about the kid and his father and sister who are struggling in Detroit, and the kid kind of gets caught up in the distributing drugs, and then gets caught up with the FBI as an informant, and then gets away, and now he's selling drugs at a drug pen, and he's also really young. He's like 16 in the movie when all this first starts, and by the time the movie gets toward the end, he's 18, so about a 2-year span of this story. And yeah, it's just about his life through all this stuff. And
yeah, the movie starts out in the mid 80s, and I can remember that time, and it was very authentic, had a good feel. But I mean, it was at a time when it just seemed like everybody has a hustle, from the criminals to the people living in the city to the cops who are on the take and not above supplying drugs to a 15-year-old kid so they could get warrants and make arrests off the things he was doing with other kids. So kind of bizarre.
Yeah. And now some of the things we liked about the movie, we liked the family, the actors and actress who played in this family, even the grandparents. But Matthew McConaughey is good as always. Richie Merritt did a really good job for his first performance, but I mean he was kind of playing a version of himself, so it has to be expected. But the real hitter, for at least for my dad and I, was Sister Belle Powley, who really gave the impression of a drug addict and really did a good job in this one, surprisingly.
I mean, she was frighteningly good at some points. I almost wanted to, don't even know the girl, and I wanted to give her an intervention just because she really portrayed a troubled youth who was an addict. It was great. I mean, all the performances were good. And the scenery and the feel of the movie was good. And yet the movie was lacking overall.
Yeah. Now, this movie was about 2 hours, and it should have been way longer from the story they had to tell in this movie, which at that point you should almost made it like a TV series of some kind, because they had so much story to cover that a lot of things got rushed and not a lot of things got elaborated on, and you're like, why'd this happen? Wait, just like literally 30 seconds ago this was happening, now this is happening, and between the 30 seconds there should have been at least an episode or two of a real series talking about what happened and the build-up of his story and how he gets to where he is.
I mean, they were so focused on the family interaction and that he's basically a good kid caught in a weird, bad situation, that they gloss over how does a 14, 15-year-old kid rise up in the drug trade. And they gloss past big moments which you're like, well, where are the repercussions of that? How did he get to that? Just because they didn't have time. So you're sitting there wondering how could this incident happen and there not be any repercussions for it. I mean, it really would be an interesting mini-series because it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, we were interested all the way through. It's not that it was a boring story by any means, but we wanted more. And we wanted more things explained, and it just wasn't. And I wish we could have the same cast here in a longer series, because I would love to watch the whole thing through, because it was a very, very interesting story, like you said. But nope, we got stuck with 2 hours of movies with lots of story cut out, and that's just not acceptable. I don't care how good the cast is. So yeah. It suffers a bit. Now, would you knowing all this and knowing that we're not going to get a TV series of it, at least not in the immediate future, would you pay money out of your pocket and go see this movie? Because I don't think I could.
Only if I was sure that the History Channel or the Discovery Channel was going to do a mini series filling in all the blanks on this movie.
Yeah, think of this movie like a really heavy Cliff Notes, because it skips out a lot of the story substance and just gets to the main points of the story that change things. And you know, it's like reading Cliff Notes for a really good book, and you're like, man, that book sounds really good. I want to read it. But there's, you know, hundreds and hundreds of pages you didn't get to read. So,
it'd be kind of like if the movie Scarface was reduced down to he comes over to Miami and then say hello to my little friend, and you're like, hold it, shouldn't there have been a lot more story in between there somewhere?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all good, it's all interesting, but there's a lot of meat missing from that.
Yeah, now if you have a movie pass or something, I would say, you know, sure, it doesn't cost you anything. You will be interested. You will like the story overall. You'll like it, but you'll want more, and you won't get more. And a lot of things are going to get accelerated, and that's just something you will have to deal with, unfortunately.
I mean, overall, again, just repeating ourselves, but the acting was great. What they show you is all done well. The sets look very well there. It captures the atmosphere. Modern day Cleveland is the stand-in for the bombed out shell of Detroit from the mid 80s, but you never get the feeling that there's otherwise. It's not like they're showing you a Miami neighborhood and telling you that it's Detroit. You know, it feels right the whole time. And so, I mean, what they got on the screen was good. That's not, you just wanted more.
Yeah. Well, that about does it for us, guys. If you like the video, drop a like, and if you dislike the video, drop a dislike. Let us know why in the comments, and let's have a discussion on this movie. If you have seen it, do you agree with us, or do you disagree with us? Have you not seen this movie, and are you now interested? Let us know in the comments.
And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications, and you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at The Jones Boys Review.
Yep. And until then, guys, adios, nation.
See ya.